Welcome to the Look podcast. Today I'm joined by the Look mentors, Craig and Liam. Hi, guys.
Hiya.
Hiya.
And today we'll be talking about how to look fresh, how we learn to shave, and how we look good as vision impaired men. So I think the first question I should ask is, have either of you gone for the lockdown haircut and shaved off all your hair?
No.
Yeah. You haven't. I did.
Oh, you've gone for it?
Yes. I kind of had to eventually. It was tickling my ears.
How many weeks was it in?
About 8.
8 weeks. Oh, okay, that is long.
It was getting pretty silly. So this is much more manageable. Fair
enough. How about you, Liam? So you haven't gone for it?
No, so last time I went to the barbers, they said you need to grow more hair so we can actually do something with it. So I'm going to wait until I can eventually go back, whether that be another month or two, and then I can say to them, do something with this. Because it'll be all over the place by then.
So how bad is it now?
How bad is it now? It's manageable. It needs a cut, but it's not getting in my eyes or anything. So
mine is also pretty bad. Mine is like, someone said I look like Teen Wolf, if anyone's seen the show. So it's mostly like, my face is mostly hair. There is very few patches of skin. So I'm very much looking forward to when barbers are out.
It'll be great for the winter though.
Oh yeah, I know. This will be fine now. One of my friends said I could add beard baubles. Okay, well it's good to hear. Nice to find out someone has gone for the lockdown haircut. So as vision impaired men, we'll have to learn to shave at some point. I know I have a beard and Liam also has a beard, but there are points where we would have been clean shaven. So I wanted to hear how you guys first started to shave. I'm sure other young people going through this, starting in this period, will be wanting to know how, and any tips that you guys may have for it. So Craig, how about you?
Okay, so essentially I first tried denial and hoping that whatever was growing on my face would just go away of its own accord, and that didn't work. So my dad eventually just sort of said, look, you gotta start shaving this now. So I first tried with an electronic razor, so one of the ones that essentially works like a set of hair clippers. I think the main reason for that was that my parents were terrified that I would slice my hand open using a wet shaver. I just found that the effect of it just wasn't very good, the particular one I had at the time. So eventually my dad just taught me how to wet shave, and essentially the way he sort of showed me to do it was sort of use your fingertips essentially as your mirror. So to use your fingertips to know what you have done and what you haven't done, just stroke your own face, possibly looking slightly narcissistic if anyone was to watch. But no, you just feel for the bits that you haven't quite got yet, and then move your hand away and attack it with the wet shaver. There were cuts, I'm not going to lie, but not as many as you might think, and it certainly, my parents' fears were largely unfounded. So I would say we don't typically get more or less sort of nicks than an imagined sighted people do. So doing it with a wet shaver is fine. Yeah, in my case, it's my dad that taught me, and it worked really well.
Do you still do wet shave now then?
I've changed my mind a few times. So I've got a more advanced electronic razor now. And that's the one I'll use normally. It's one of the ones, you've got sort of 3 circles joined together in sort of a triangular shape, and you can sort of roll it around your face. I'm not sure what it's called. I think it's a Phillips something or other in my case. And it's the electronic ones, they won't cut you because they're designed not to. But at the same time, they're not as close a shave as doing a wet shave yourself. So I will still sometimes wet shave, particularly if I want to look sharp for any particular reason, date, job interview, that kind of thing. I typically do that, and I typically find that I can go for longer without shaving after doing that as well. Even though it's extra faff, but it's worth it you get better results. I do a mixture of both. Normally electronic, but if I want to spruce up, I'll go with a wet shave.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Craig. And Liam, how about you?
So I use a magnified mirror that sticks on the bathroom wall. So I use like a wet shaver. That isn't electronic. And then I've never really tried by feeling my face like Craig has, but I've always used a magnified mirror, and that's sort of been good enough. That's what I did when I was younger. Obviously, the first couple of times I had to check my dad to make sure I hadn't missed anything. But now it's fine. Like I don't need to do that because I can kind of work out when it's all been done. I've got a slight blind spot on my face as well, just because the way my eyes sort of look. So that's always a bit interesting. So it takes a bit longer than maybe the average person, but it's okay. It's okay. It's good. But to be honest with you, most of the time now, I just have like an electronic shaver. I've been for about 3 or 4 because I've always found most of them aren't very good, in my experience anyway. I could be wrong about that. That's what I use now, so I don't really go clean shaven.
Thanks, Liam. I think for me, now that I've grown a beard, I always use just an electric shaver just for like cheeks and like underneath on my neck. But when I first started, I had an electric razor, but but to be honest, I think I was a bit lazy, so it would get a bit long, and then I'd have to get my dad to sort of help me. But when he was doing it for me, it then sort of taught me the technique, so I could then start to do it myself. So when I was clean shaven, I would use an electric one, but I was able to follow the similar sort of pattern. And like Craig yourself, I was feeling my face for where there was any hair, and then I'd get someone to check it for me because I didn't want to do stupid. But now that I've grown the beard, it's like it's one less thing to think about, so it's quite nice.
I was going to say, you reminded me of a lot of the way I started as well. I did actually start with my dad doing it for me as well, which is something I completely forgot. But now you've said it, it's reminded me that he did used to do it at first with the wet shave and used to explain what he was doing. And I just completely forgot that.
It's a good way of learning, because I was going to say that if I ever want to have like a cutthroat shave, I go to a barber, so then they do like the cheeks and my neck for me. And that's where I was going to ask if you guys ever use the barbers to sort of help if you wanted. Like for me, it helps with they line up my beard and make my beard look a lot better, because I wouldn't dare try. So I didn't know if you guys did that for your any facial hair or anything else with your hair.
So when I go to the barber, I'll always ask for like a shave, but I only go once a month. So sometimes I have to do it myself in between.
Okay.
But they always shape it much better than I ever could. So.
I go clean shaven, so going to a barber is always a guaranteed way to get a really good quality shave. They just really know what they're doing, and I've never been disappointed. And also they can do all the other bits of grooming which you typically wouldn't do as often at home, such as setting your ear hairs on fire and such like other strange things they do in the barbers. But
yes.
You do come out feeling really, really good after they're finished.
Yes, they're really good. I think it's sometimes worth investing in, especially like VI. If you can't, there's just something a little bit that you can't see to do. Like sometimes it's paying to have it just done nicely, even for like you said, Liam, just like once a month. It's in like, for like that next week, you feel really good, feel really fresh, and it's a nice feeling. So moving on to sort of barbers and hair styling. Do you guys style hair in any certain way, or how did you know how you wanted your hair to look?
I can usually do it by feel when using like gel and stuff, but if I go to the barbers, they'll always sort of style it in a certain way, and then I can never kind of replicate it. when I have to do it at home.
What do you do? How do you style your hair?
So I just use gel. I always have like a shower in the morning, so that wets it properly, and then and then I just kind of gel it from there, really, using the magnified mirror similar to shaving, so I can actually see exactly how I've styled it. But I don't do anything like spectacular. I usually stick it up a little bit at the front, but that's about it.
How about you, Craig?
I mean, that sounds quite a lot fancier than what I do, Liam. I will say that. So essentially, my hairstyle was decided for me at a youngish age by the male elephant in the room that is hair loss. So I got to university and I decided that I did want to start styling my hair, and I did for, I would say, the first year or two. So much, similar-ish to Liam. I would sort of use gel, although in my case I would do a lot of it by feel. So I was trying to say stick it up, etc. And I was doing it by feel, by sort of lifting my hand above my head and sort of feeling along the tops of it, and to see if I was satisfied with it. So and using a big mirror as well, not a magnified mirror in my case, but it was still useful. So that was when I had hair, and then later on, I've essentially gone for much shorter hairstyles. So for a while, I tried a comb over, and then I moved to just essentially just having really short hair. And I will say it's a lot easier to maintain once you've had it cut that way.
Yeah.
Although it still grows back, and occasionally then I will have to comb my hair, etc. But I'm not using anything fancy like gel anymore. I'm pretty much similar to Liam, having a shower and then using the wet hair to get it into place. So the last time I did that was for lockdown hair. That did need some taming. So I was using the old shower and comb technique, and it worked.
Okay.
It was quite satisfactory. So
Yeah.
but yeah, you can gel your hair and do fancier stuff as a blind person if you want to. There are those options there.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that's something that I do, and I use some of the techniques you're saying, Liam and Craig, where like if I try and copy what the barber did when like Liam, but again, I wouldn't. Yeah, you can't copy what they do, so it's always nice when they style it for you. But then if I try, I do feel along the top, so if I can feel it's like coiffed up high enough, or I think it looks good, and then just go from there. But I use sort of like a clay, so my hair doesn't look like, it's not like the wet effect. So that's the
okay.
I would use. Yeah, there's like, and I know there's some people that use hairspray now as well, but I haven't gone into that sort of area yet of hairstyling.
Never thought of that. That's quite classy.
Barbers use
It is.
spray on my hair, but I've never done it myself.
Oh, there's other things like sea salt spray. That's another good one for like, you don't really have to sort of style your hair, to sort of spray it in and then sort of throw your hair about and then sort of go for like the natural look. So
sort of freshly musked look. You got real musky hair everywhere.
Yeah. Organized mess. So so we're talking about like shaving and hair, but I think for what we do at Look is we like to have a good like top tip. So I wondered what your top tip would be for young people looking to like style their hair or shave or something in the field of like self-care really. So I wondered what top tip you would give young people.
Get a magnified mirror.
Magnified mirror.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a good one.
So my first one would be sort of in a similar vein to Liam. Like if you've got some residual vision, absolutely use it. If not, don't be afraid to engage your hands. You're not going to cut yourself. You're not going to cause yourself any serious mischief. You may occasionally need a plaster, but that's about it. And it's tight. You get tiny nicks. They're honestly not worth worrying about. I suppose the other one is if you have got sighted family or friends that you really trust, absolutely get their opinions and let them know. Ask them their opinions, or in the case of my family, they will volunteer their opinions. So they will tell you if it works or if it doesn't work, and that's sometimes really good. So an example, I did try growing a beard, but it just looked too scraggly when it was too long. So I just I got bad feedback. So I thought, okay, we'll give this a miss for now. But I tried it, and don't be afraid to try these things and see how they look on your face or on your head. Your family or friends will tell you if it looks good. So, and don't be afraid to try new things.
No, definitely. That's a really good one. And I think in lockdown, especially, it's such a good opportunity to do this sort of experimenting with like facial hair or just whatever, like the hair in your head. Just take you might not see some people for a while, and we're not going to see barbers. So, hairdressers for a fair bit. So it would be nice. It's a good time where you can just experiment and ask the people around you to just give you that opinion. So I think a really good one. Plus the magnified mirror. Cool. Is there anything else you guys want to say?
I suppose I can give a sort of more general shaving tip for if you do experiment with electric razors, because I know we mentioned them a few times. It's not blind specific, but it could be useful, as a lot of blind people probably will try electric shavers. If you try and do under your chin first, because that's the most sensitive to heat, that's a better idea, because obviously the electric shavers will get warm and it can really irritate the underside of your chin, as I've found, if you do that last when it's all hot. Okay. It's just a random tidbit I've picked up, but it's actually quite useful.
No, I like it. That sounds like a good one. Thanks, Craig.
No worries. It comes from regular shaving.
Cool. Well, thank you both for joining the podcast today. So today we've spoken about what it's like being visually impaired as a man trying to shave and trying to style hair and sort of work out how we look. But I think the top tips we've had from today are invest in a magnified mirror. Don't be afraid to experiment with the way you look, and also to don't shave your chin first. So thank you for joining us today.